Consider the paradox. If you are branding the almighty creator of the universe, the Lion of Judah, the light of the world, you choose imagery that commands fear and respect. You choose gold, fire, or the eagle soaring above the storm. You do not choose a creature that is cold, slimy, and mute. You do not choose an animal that is hunted, netted, and sold by the pound in the market. And yet, for the first 3 centuries of church history, the cross was almost nowhere to be found. Instead, the walls of the ancient world were marked by the fish. It seems absurd. Why would a movement centered on a carpenter king identify with the silent, suffocating depths of the sea? It feels like a mistake, a cosmic error in marketing. But this symbol wasn't chosen for its majesty. It was chosen for its invisibility. To understand the fish, you have to realize that for the earliest believers, religion wasn't a Sunday ritual. It was a capital crime. The answer lies not in theology, but in the desperate need to survive. Let's stop thinking about theology and start thinking about espionage. Let's wind the clock back to the 1st century, to the suffocating heat of the Roman Empire. We are standing on the grit of the Appian Way at twilight. The air is thick with the smell of wood smoke and the metallic tang of fear. To be a Christian here is not to be a member of a church, it is to be a member of a resistance cell. The emperor is not just a ruler, he is a god, and refusing to burn incense to him is treason punishable by the arena, the lion, or the tar pit. You cannot wear a cross. You cannot carry a Bible. You cannot speak the name of your leader. Every conversation is a potential trap. Every stranger could be a Praetorian spy. So, how do you survive? How do you identify a brother in a crowd of enemies without signing your own death warrant? You use the dirt. Imagine you are meeting a contact in a busy market. You don't whisper a code word. You simply crouch down, as if resting, and casually trace a single, curved arc in the sand with a stick or your toe. Then, you wait. To a Roman soldier, it looks like a meaningless doodle, a child's game. But if the stranger crouches and draws the opposing arc, intersecting yours to form the outline of a fish, the signal is verified. The silence is broken, the connection is made. In a world of surveillance, the fish wasn't an icon for the altar. It was a cryptographic handshake for the underground. But the genius of this symbol goes deeper than the dirt. Its true power wasn't just in the shape, it was in the word itself. To understand why this crude image survived when empires fell, we have to look at the language of the time, Greek. The Greek word for fish is ichthys. To the Roman soldier or the pagan merchant, it was a mundane noun, something you ordered for dinner. But to the initiate, ichthys was not a word, it was an acronym. It was perhaps the world's first viral meme, a compressed file containing the entire theological DNA of the movement. Let's break the code. There are 5 letters in ichthys: iota, chi, theta, upsilon, sigma. The first letter, iota, stood for Iesus Jesus, the specific human name, the historical figure. The second, chi, stood for Christos, the Anointed One, the title of kingship. The third, theta, stood for Theo of God, the claim of divine origin. The fourth, upsilon, stood for Yeo Son, the claim of relationship. And the final letter, sigma, stood for Soter Savior, the claim of purpose. Jesus Christ, Son of God, Savior. In a time when paper was scarce and scrolls were heavy, the fish allowed a believer to carry the entire Christian manifesto in a single word. It was a verbal hologram. By simply uttering the word fish or drawing its shape, you were confessing the creed. You were asserting that a Galilean carpenter was higher than Caesar. But the decoding doesn't stop at the letters. We must also look at the element the fish inhabits, water. In the ancient Near Eastern mindset, from the Babylonians to the Hebrews, the sea was often a symbol of chaos, the abyss, the realm of the Leviathan. It was a place of death. For this new sect, the symbolism was potent. They viewed themselves as little fishes, as the theologian Tertullian later wrote, Born in the waters of baptism, they were creatures who found life where others found only drowning. To be a fish was to be someone who could breathe underwater, someone who had been pulled from the chaos of the pagan world into the net of a new order. The symbol wasn't just a name tag, it was a declaration that they had survived the flood. Fast forward 2,000 years. The Roman Empire is dust. The Caesars are forgotten history. But the fish? The fish has migrated. It swam out of the damp stone walls of the catacombs and onto the chrome bumpers of SUVs on the interstate. It is a jarring transformation. What started as a matter of life and death became a matter of lifestyle. In the 1,970 seconds, the symbol resurfaced as the Jesus fish, a defining badge of the counterculture Jesus people movement, before eventually settling as a staple of mainstream religious branding. It went from a secret whisper in the dark to a neon sign in the daylight. But symbols, once released into the wild, evolve, and this specific icon became the battleground for a modern ideological war. You have seen the response on the highway, the Darwin fish, a parody of the Ichthys, sprouting legs and walking onto land, stamped with the name of the evolutionary biologist. Then came the T-Rex eating the fish, then the sushi fish. It is a fascinating cultural tug-of-war. We took a secret code used to avoid execution and turned it into a decal for traffic jams. We turned the sacred into the satirical. Yet, even in its commercialized, plastic form, the symbol retains a strange, stubborn durability. It is one of the few ancient hieroglyphs that a modern teenager recognizes instantly without a history lesson. It survived the lions. It survived the censors. And perhaps most impressively, it has survived its own commodification. In the end, the most profound truth of the Ichthys isn't the code or the history. It is the nature of the creature itself. A lion conquers, an eagle dominates, but a fish is caught. The symbol suggests that the spiritual life isn't a heroic climb to the top of a mountain. It is a rescue from the deep. To identify as the fish is to admit that we are swimming in the cold, silent currents of a reality we cannot control, waiting for the net. It reminds us that in the ancient view of the cosmos, we do not hunt for the divine. The divine, like a hook in the water, finds us.